Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Object 261. It's the Tier 10 Soviet SPG located on the west spawn of Studzianki. It's under the command of BertholomaeusRexodus. Game on. Well, he does have some numerals in there as well. It says 44 times 2. I've got no idea what that's connected with, but there again, you know, some of the names that we get recently have been quite hilarious. Well, let's see. This is basically a version of the IS-7 that was re-engineered to carry a howitzer. The original proposal was to actually fit a 152mm howitzer into the thing, but in fact that was decided against because they wanted to put something a bit more meaty in. And it turned out to be an 18cm howitzer that they chose instead. Now, this is the new map. Yep, you can see. It's the 122 version. And he gets a direct hit on the Ho-Ri 3. 308 hit points. Now, the 261 is capable of doing 800 alpha, 45mm of pen with 9.5 meters burst radius. With the additional HE, the one without the stun, 1000 alpha, 56mm of pen, and a 5-meter radius, so much less. Rounds out again. Another direct hit, this time 256. And if he did actually carry armor piercing, 520 alpha and 334mm of pen. The standard reload, 30.68 seconds. And I think we're about to see BertholomaeusRexodus has got it down to about 22 or something like that, 23. 24.85, so I was close, but not quite. Okay, the new version of Studzianki shows the factory has been changed quite dramatically. Yes, it's no longer that central corral area. You've got all these buildings now, like this. It's much more difficult to play, but there's much more side scraping involved. People don't stare at each other across the railway line anymore. No, what they do is they side scrape on the corners. But of course that means that they are vulnerable to Arty fire, because of course if they do try to side scrape on the corner, they're likely to get hit. There is still a railway line there, it's slightly different. Now over to the south, you can see there's not much in the way of change except maybe the fact that there are now buildings where there wasn't buildings before. TVP takes a direct hit, 340 off that one. That's a good shot because the TVP doesn't have much in the way of armor, but he did get a nice chunk out of him, and he was very low on hit points to start with. The Super Conqueror has been marked as target. We can't see him, but he must still be there because he hasn't moved up and he hasn't been spotted. And that Jaeger is a one-shot, rounds out the Super Conqueror. Oh, it was a direct hit! Yep, the shell sort of abruptly stopped in flight, and yeah, that indicates that he did get a direct hit on target. Okay, now despite it showing green and the loading arm saying it's fully loaded, it's not. He's still completing the load. That's a fault with the mods. I'm afraid early on in the client they sometimes do this. Trying to get a shot on an Object 140, making his way up the center trench. Actually, it's the riverbed, but let's see, can we see anyone? No, we can't at the moment, but there he is. Okay, rounds out, just missed him. He managed to pull back in time. I think he actually pulled back after having a quick look. So maybe he should have fired when he did that and pulled up to take a shot. Ideally, you want to catch an enemy tank unawares if you're pre-aimed on the spot, because you know the enemy is going to appear somewhere close to where you're looking. Then you can get ready for him, and the moment he pops up and it looks like he's aiming, that's the moment you hit them, because of course it really upsets them if they get hit whilst they're in the middle of an aim. Well, so far 1,148 hit points of damage, and some stun assists, but very little. He got another direct hit on the TVP, 341, and he picked up the rest as track damage. So, yeah, the guy was tracked and couldn't stop himself from being wiped out by our Heshpon. So that's a valuable hit there, because that means he's got about 1,000 of assists so far, as well as the 1,500 actual damage. He keeps going at this rate, he should be okay. But, oh, he fires a quick snap in. Well, it's not a snap, but he was firing the shell past the chimney, which is actually quite a big obstruction. And it looks like that E3 just took another direct hit from one of our other Arty, which of course is the patch at 155.58. And so we picked up some more stun assist, 290 hit points. Now he's probably still in there, and now he's been stunned again. I suppose that's in the hope that the batch at 155.58's got more shells to fire. Okay, there's that 140 again. And this time round, he's got company, because one of our tanks is coming chasing him up the trench. And he does 15-16. So if we can help that 15-16 by planting around in there, unfortunately it hits the ridge line. A little too close to the ridge line, that one. And I think we know where two of the enemy Arty are now. We know where both of them are. One's about mid-level, just below the cap area, and the other one's right up at the top in grid square D0. So we know where the Arty are, but we're not going after them yet, because we're trying to get as much stun assist as we can. Another direct hit tracks the E100. As you can see, this area right down at the south near the church has actually changed dramatically. So there's now kind of inlet. Oh, that was a direct hit by the back chat. Somebody's parked around that corner just behind the E100. There's another tank. We don't know who it is yet, but someone just took a direct hit. Rounds out again. Lands in front of him, but 258, and it keeps him stunned. And whilst he's stunned, he's not able to actually help his teammate. And the enemy has lost tanks. Unfortunately, we just lost one as well. The E100 just took out the Kampfpanzer 7 PE. Okay, now, can he get a shot on this Superconk on the corner? If he can splash him, that might be useful, because remember, we've got guys up the far end. There's a CS63 up there. And he gets some stun, and he gets some splash. Only 12 hit points. But what's important is that that Superconk is now actually vulnerable to our guys further up the railway line. See, it's a Ho-Ree there hiding behind that building as well. And he must realise that CS63 is there. Oh, the CS63 just got wiped out. Oh, but there's a splash kill! He actually managed to land the shell. BertholomaeusRexodus just took out the Ho-Ree 3 by landing around near the Ho-Ree that was hiding behind that building, and he's out the game. But sadly, we did lose one of our teammates up the far end, and now the scores are 8-8, so there's still 7 tanks left on both teams. That was just slightly off to the right. Okay, that Superconk is still there. He's still got most of his hit points, but we can certainly inconvenience him by putting a round into the side. We're down to just 5 rounds of standard stun HE now. Can we get a hit? Rounds out. It lands short, but it still stuns the Superconk. Okay, mark the target. In fact, actually, it was the pattern that was marking the target who was requesting fire on the target. Normally, that's another thing, is that if somebody does request fire, let them know that you're actually looking at that target for them by actually pressing the T key. You put the target under the rescue, and he did get stunned on the 140 there. If you do that, then your teammates know that you are actually looking at the target that they're requesting fire on, and that might help them to make a decision as to when they can move. Well, that Superconk is coming through the factory now, coming out the other end. You can see, again, the architecture has changed dramatically on Studzianki. Now, the enemy is coming this way, so it might be a good idea to head south for the winter. Yeah, the Batchat's already got the idea. This particular Arty is capable of 50 kilometers an hour. The Batchat can go a lot faster than that, actually. Now, he's not worrying about knocking trees down as he goes, because he just needs to get south as quickly as he can. But you can see that BertholomaeusRexodus is actually being careful to only go through the channels that have already been created by the Batchat. Again, if somebody knocks down any trees, then you try and use that to your advantage. Our 140 just took out their GWE-100, so they've just lost one of their Arty, and he's getting close to the railway line now. So we're now aiming to the north. Supposedly, the Object 261's over in the corner. There he is. He's being chased as he's running. We can possibly get a shot on him. No, you need a lead on the target. Remember, oh, well, the Batchat didn't need any lead. He got it right. Yes, you do need to lead that target because he is moving fast. Remember, 50 kilometers an hour. And when he's moving fast like that, you need to give a bit more lead on target. Now, we've got a partially occluded reticule there, which means that buildings are getting in the way. But what we're more concerned about right now is this Object 140 up the far end. Now, if we can stun him, that might make things easier for our Heshbon. Oh, unfortunately, the Heshbon just got wiped out. So now there's only 3 left on our team. And we need to skedaddle and get out of here quick, because follow that Batchat 155-58, because the Object 140 on the enemy team is hunting us. We may only have 3 left, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to lose the game. 2 RTs can still make a huge difference in the game. Remember, the enemy have lost theirs. Now, we can use this new layout here. You can see Batchat's firing off his 3 rounds before he starts moving. Oh, and the 140's just got another kill. He took out the Super Conqueror on the enemy team. So we just need to keep moving. Batchat's in reload. Oh, now we need to help. We need to stop. And he's doing it. Okay. Just need to take out this Object 140, or at least stun him. Got a moving reticule. Rounds out. Oh, good hit. Solid hit there on the 140. 358 hit points. And he does get the kill. But we have been spotted by the enemy. So he's changing course to try and go up the center. Because he's not going to be able to run away by driving east now. He has to move north to get away from whoever spotted him. It's the 140 and he's coming up behind us. Now, question is, will the 140 catch up with us? He's going to go for the shotgun. Here he comes. Comes up over the top. Well, he did get a shotgun and he kills the 140 with a ram. Yes, because this is a heavy tank Arty. An IS-7. He only suffered 183 hit points of damage, but he's taken out an enemy heavy, or an enemy medium rather, and that means now there's only 1 enemy left, the Crambon. So BertholomaeusRexodus may have just won the game for his team by not only shotgunning the enemy, but then ramming him to death afterwards. And I think the 140 didn't expect that. I really honestly don't believe the 140 realized that he was going up against a heavy tank Arty. And these things are a lot more solid than they look. 62 tons this Arty is. 62 tons. The same weight as an IS-7 because it's got a huge howitzer. A massive 18 centimeter howitzer. Well, the 140 is now headed for the Crambon, for the factory. We need to get over to the cap as quickly as possible. Start putting pressure. If we can help get the cap. They found the Crambon. Now, you'll have to stop and take shots. If we can. It might distract the Crambon if he does get hit. And we can get a shot on him, but it's very difficult. We've got a red line. Now we've got a green line. Okay, we're dialed in, but no, you need to get to the cap. Oh, the kill shot goes to the Batchat 155-58. That's a victory. And they won the game against the odds. Who says that Arty cannot win games? Yes, they can. Very well indeed, especially when they're in partner with an enemy, a teammate who can actually spot for them. BertholomaeusRexodus earned an ace tanker in that game by firing all those shots at the enemy. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, he got 13. He got a Gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. He got a Confederate for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win ace on that game was 4,843, which is Super Unicum standard. He did kill 2 enemy tanks, one by a splash kill, one by a ram kill during that game, and I think he changed the nature of that battle right at the end by ramming to death that Object 140, because I felt fairly confident that he thought that he could get the 261, but he made a big mistake by trying to ram BertholomaeusRexodus, and yes, he got revenge. Let's have a look at team score. The highest damage in the game went to BertholomaeusRexodus. He managed to get 4,130 hit points of damage from that game. Second highest damage went to the Super Conqueror on the enemy team with 3,764. And the third highest damage went to the Minotauro on our own team with 3,713. The killing shot for that game actually went to the Batchat 155-58. He took out the Cranbon with a 155mm round, which sorted him out, and he actually managed to get 1,667 hit points of damage. Didn't quite get so much damage as BertholomaeusRexodus, but of course BertholomaeusRexodus ended up with very few rounds left at the end of that game. In fact, I think he only had 1 round left at the end of the game, or at least I'll have to recheck that when I see it. But when it came to kills, we can see it was the Object 140 on our own team that came out best. That was our last surviving medium tank. He got 5 kills in that game. 3 kills went to the Super Conqueror and the Object 140 on the enemy team, the one who rammed to death there. And 2 kills went to BertholomaeusRexodus, the M48 Patton, the Batchat 155-58, and the Heshbarn on our own team. And on the enemy team, only 1 tank managed more than 1 kill who didn't get 3, and that was the E100 who managed to. When it came to base XP, there was only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000 base. That was the Object 140 with 1,204. BertholomaeusRexodus picked up 1,052. And just behind them, the Kampfpanzer 7 PE managed 993 with the Batchat 155-58 getting 798. He did fire his entire ammo load in that game. Would you believe it? 20 shots. He didn't have a round spare. That was his last round. The one he shotgunned the Object 140. Yes, it was his last round, which is the reason why he continued to go to the capper after aiming. He suddenly realized, I've got no shells left. So he probably didn't realize when he shotgunned the 140 that was his last round. He got 10 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations, but 20 splash. Damage of 4,130 hit points, of which 3,539 were at more than 300 meters. He did receive 1 hit. That was the Object 140. And it was a hit by way of splash damage, I think. Was it that he was trying to fire an HE round at us? Well, I think he thought that if he could knock enough hit points off us, then he could actually then ram kill us, but it didn't work out well for him. 10 enemy vehicles were damaged, 2 were killed, 738 hit points of damage assistance, and look at this, 1,998 hit points of stun assist off 19 stuns. So combined there, it's over 2k. In fact, it's nearly 3k of assist in the game, and that's why he got the ace tanker. On a premium count, he actually suffered a loss actually of 28,600 credits for the game, but despite that, he got 7 ones and 7,890 experience points altogether. And I think that ram kill is really the sweetest thing out of it, because I'm sure that 140 just had no idea that his little medium tank is always going to come off worse when it tries to ram kill an Arty that's made from a heavy tank. Yes. don't try to ram heavy tank Artys because they are pretty solid. So many players seem to make that mistake when they take on a 105 Left H 18B2 and they're in their little Panzer 3s or Panzer 1C, the little runarounds, and they think that they can ram kill an Arty, and they find out that they're bugs on the windshield afterwards. It's so funny watching that happen. So thanks to BertholomaeusRexodus for sending in this replay, because we all needed a good laugh at the expense of the enemy, and to watch the Arty rule on this battlefield. If you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.